to read about the crisis where she discovered she was pregnant with his child. Not a word, just polite condescension. Ilona came from a wealthy old family with lots of titles and lots of land. Her father was a count. She was married to a baron. Franz Lehar, before he published The Merry Widow, was just an ambitious military bandmaster. That's all his father was. So, here was great-grandmother working with Mahler in the domain of great art. Why should she give Lehar the time of day? Just because he was the world-famous father of her unborn child? I kept setting down the diary in disbelief. I could have accepted a fictional character who behaved like her in an operetta, a contessa, but not a real person in my family. She just waltzes past Lehar onto the next musical genius, whom, as usual, she identifies by his religion. There is a young Jewish composer who assaults the audience with awful sounds. These young Jews are all very modern, eager to shock, with new theories which of course disdain anything like beauty. Mahler doesn't really like it, but he feels this young man has great talent, so he defends him. Very admirable, very brave, in fact. Herr Direktor Mahler was almost in a fist fight. Then there was hooting and shouted insults and some actual fists that flew during the concert of this elegant young composer, Schönberg. I was saving up so we could afford to have a baby. Instead, that spring, without warning or discussion, my husband left me for a friend of ours who was pregnant with twins. His plan. They had not wanted to hurt me unnecessarily, they said, so they waited to tell me until they were absolutely sure. Second trimester.
A lighting change indicates early morning. The backdrop becomes a window through which we see a broad, shadowy forest and meadow.
For weeks after he left, I woke every morning before dawn with a certain song going through my head. In my dream, it felt like a warning. I would sit in a chair and wait for the sun to rise. I watched the light slowly dilute the darkness, waited for it to push back the black into the corners and under the furniture, and it did. But it didn't dilute the deception. The song tells of a girl whose fiancé has gone to war. She doesn't know he's already been killed. At dawn, there's a knock on the door. It's him, his ghost, asking to come in. I was studying this song when I first met my husband. I think it came back to me because of a passage in Ilona's diary. After she had the baby, Ilona quit singing in public. They kept the apartment in Vienna, but her diary contains no more steamy sex adventures. It's all about her son and the Baron, trips to Berlin and Paris, then the start of World War I in 1914, and the Baron was killed. The Germans had positioned canisters of chlorine gas to use against the French, but the wind shifted, and this poison has killed the Hungarian allies instead. So Vienna informs me that my husband has met with a regrettable accident. It should have been Frenchmen who died. That was the plan. It was correct. It should have been dead Frenchmen, who are our enemies in this war for no good reason at all. At any rate, they are terribly sorry. How very kind. This was the best man I have ever known, and he was my own. But he is in his new house now. His house of green grass. I knew that house of green grass. It's from the song. Green grass is the only house the girl and her fiancé will ever share, but they will share it because when he knocks, she gets out of bed and opens the door and welcomes him. She lets the ghost come in.
So lang hast du
Revolution, a civil war, and economic collapse, all mixed together. Ilona took her son and jewelry box and left. My grandfather used to tell some pretty tall stories about that trip, eating roots and berries, crossing mountains on foot. My sisters and I sometimes rolled our eyes behind his back. We didn't really believe him. It sounded like a fairy tale. You never know what other people suffer.